Here we are, live once again. Actually, for the 13th time, we are live with the Security Break podcast. So, yeah, once again, I'm still not used to it, even if this is the 13th time. Hi everyone. I'm Giorgio Berticone. This is the Security Bet podcast, a little project of mine where I invite cool people to have a nice chat about some recent security topics. Together with me, once again, there's Fabio Zambrino. That you know, once again, thank you so much to join me in this episode. How are you? How are you tonight?
I'm fine, thanks. Thanks again for inviting me. It's always a pleasure to be part of the podcast and spend some time reading news and chatting about it with you and hopefully with someone in the comments or later in the comments of the other platforms.
Yeah, sure. So exactly, since you mentioned it, we are currently live on Twitch. We will have a chat for a little more than 1 hour. But if you can make it right now where we are live, the video recording will be re-uploaded on YouTube later, and the audio recording will be re-uploaded on Spotify and similar platforms. Oh, hi. Someone is starting to watch us. Hi, breaking into cybersecurity. Actually, you know, um, who you just saw in the comments was one of the previous guests for the previous episode. So please, I encourage you to have a look at the previous episodes that I uploaded on the other platforms, and please leave a comment on those or even in the new one, so you can give us a feedback and let us know what we can improve, and especially let us know if you like this, and we should just continue to do this. So Fabio has been with me on multiple episodes, but maybe this is the first time you watch. And yeah, Fabio, can you maybe briefly introduce yourself?
Yes, sure. I'm Fabio. I'm working at CSCS, the Swiss Supercomputing Center, based in Lugano, in Ticino, in Switzerland. And I'm a IT security analyst. I'm working in a very specific field, but it's not always nice to speak with people of other coming from other um,
Yeah, environments, right?
environments. Yes, thanks. So again, thanks for the invite, and hopefully I will be giving something. I will speak about something interesting with you today for our guests and people looking
Yeah.
at the podcast or listening to the podcast.
Yeah, sure. And yeah, you know how thankful I am with you and all of the other guests that joined me. It's actually, the purpose of the podcast itself, because this is just a need of mine, right? I need to take me updated about the last events on the security field, and I need to exchange. Um, thoughts and opinions and information with other experts from the field. And I believe this enriches myself as as a person, as a professional, so much that I thought this is important, and probably it could be helpful even for other people if they participate in the discussion, right? Because if you're watching this live, you can definitely chat with us using the comments on Twitch. I'm gonna have a look at the comments, so feel free to use them and ask questions, or just give us your opinion on what we are talking about. But that's it. I think it's time for reading and talking about our news. Just give me a second so I can share my screen. Uh-huh. Okay, here we are. Okay, should be visible for everyone.
Yep.
And so as usual, this is the format. I'm gonna to introduce briefly the piece of news itself, and then we will just share some thoughts about it. So this is a piece from I actually like so much the Krebs and Security blog, or whatever they call it right now. Very very interesting. Have a look at that if you didn't do this before. What we are talking is actually something that is not very new. We are talking about a data breach that affected LastPass. If you don't know it, LastPass is basically a cloud password manager. So you can subscribe, or you can just use their services to store and serve and save and generate all of your credentials that you can then access from any device, and securely store them, securely retrieve them whenever you need them, right? And on the 2022, they suffered from a data breach, actually a pretty big one. That we got to know different steps and different level of information from time to time. And just reading out loud here from the news, affected 25 million users, just to give you an idea. And this was particularly concerning because what they actually exfiltrated from this company were also the credentials themselves that the users um, uh, you know um, are relying on LastPass to security to store. There was some discussion about this breach because the data that was exfiltrated, the credentials that were exfiltrated, were actually encrypted. So could be something like, okay, it's not a big deal because even if they got those data, it's encrypted. They cannot really reuse them. But it's still something that it's been discussed nowadays, and this is why this new article is interesting about this. This was released just a few days ago, and basically some people working on the crypto assets world, right? Specifically, you know
Ethereum.
lead product manager from MetaMask, a company that is developing, I believe, a wallet specifically to store crypto assets. And even there are some other people that are quoted on the article, basically are saying that they are following some investigation regarding people that lost some cryptocurrency and other similar assets from their wallets. And this is a pretty big investigation involving 150 people, again just quoting and reading here. And they didn't really find the root cause yet. The only common element between all of those people apparently was the fact that they were using um,
Last.
LastPass specifically to store what they refer to as the seed phrase. Or, I'm not really an expert in this, but apparently it seems to be like some sort of root password for everything you have on your wallet. So if you get that stolen, you are, basically fucked up. They apparently use LastPass to save that credential, and the fact that all of those 150 users that were suffering from this new from this new attack, it was the LastPass usage. It makes these people think that maybe attackers found a way to decrypt the data that were exfiltrated in that data breach from 2022. So
Mm.
this is the point, and it's definitely a big statement, right? At the same time, the article itself, it's pretty long and pretty detailed. I'm As usual, I encourage you to read that, but is not really providing any specific evidence, right?
Yeah,
It's not saying, okay, we know that attackers are doing that, but it's a plausible thing given the information we have nowadays. So,
yeah.
yeah, I don't know. What's your first thoughts on this?
Well, it's it's strange. I mean, um, I have many thoughts about it. First thing is why people is still using the same credentials after a data breach, a so big data breach.
Right.
So that's the first one. Why people should use the same credential. I would have changed everything. I mean, it's tracked. You have it there. You just need to go to every website. I know it takes a lot of time, maybe, but you go to any website and change everything. Seeds, passwords, passphrase, whatever you have, you change it. I mean, your vault was is in someone else's hands. Why don't you change it? So even if LastPass says that they will not that they should not access should be able to access your vault, well, uh, my data are in someone else's hands, and but I can change them. So I should go and change them like tomorrow or today. So first thing is this one. The second one is what's behind. I mean, we know something because mm, LastPass wrote many times about this data breach. Should we know something more? you know, not that they are hiding, but maybe mm, it's better to say everything or to check again what was the target and how they targeted because they in February they said I wrote again in the article they said that it was a very specific targeted attack to one of the four engineers or developer I don't remember having access to the internal enterprise vault, and that's why people could have access to some of the keys uh, mm, that potentially could lead to opening the vaults. But maybe there is something more, and we don't know. I don't know. It's so deep. We are protected by password. We know password, multi-factor authenticators. Um, it's tough. It's tough life for with passwords. It's um, even nowadays the browser plugins are available, and you can store your seed for the multi-factor authenticators together with your password. So you should reset even those, not only the passwords.
Yeah,
In
that's
my
true.
opinion, this is my. I know I'm the first lazy person who, after a data breach, don't go immediately to change the password and says, but I'm sure that this password I never used in any other place. But I should go and I'm sure that we should go and change everything. I was not using LastPass. I'm not using LastPass. I'm using other solutions, um, but that's just my preference. I'm using an open source tool. I can read the source code. I can know how my passwords are stored, encrypted, and everything.
Yeah, I
So
mean, this is some kind of discussion that it's going to be there forever, right? I also discussed this during the time the first breach was um, was not published but was declared, right?
yeah,
With some colleagues which were using LastPass. I don't personally think there's nothing wrong with LastPass and similar solutions, right?
no, no, no.
um, I just think that if you start to use this kind of solutions, since they are, you know, this is basically a software as a service, right? It's there. It's let's say publicly accessible.
Yeah.
I mean, the platform itself, of course, you have to use some credentials, but it's something that their attack surface is there, and it's definitely something very interesting,
Sense.
right, for attackers. So for sure, there will be someone at some point that will try, right, to attack them and to retrieve something. Maybe they're very secure, maybe even if they exfiltrate something, they're encrypted and everything, but still we know for sure, like, this is pretty much philosophy here, right?
Yeah,
no
yeah.
one no one is invulnerable, okay? And at some point there will always be a way to find a new vulnerability, or find a way to decrypt that data and so on and so forth. So you're,
Mhm.
let's say, if you use these solutions, I believe you are already accepting a risk. Okay, so
Yes.
for me, it's okay that there's a certain percentage of probability that someone can breach this company and take my data. So again, it's not so easy, right? It was
No.
definitely something that probably, again, they are saying that it was targeted and everything, and that it was very very specific and blah blah. But again, it's possible, and
Yeah.
before solutions like this, pretty much everyone who was using a password manager was using an offline, a password
Hmm.
manager.
Hmm.
Again, maybe their software is better, maybe they have more features, but just the fact that it is offline, right, and someone has basically to get access to your computer to put their hands on it, I think it's a very big difference already. But again, personal choices. I understand who will prefer more usability, more features and so on and so forth, and choose to use something like this. Now you
Yeah.
said, yeah.
It's something, it's very personal, and uh, there are password manager integrated in the browsers, uh, plugins for the browser, or add-ins or dons for the browsers. You can mix the two. For
Mhm.
example, I mix all the password managers I have. Some password I store in the browser password manager because it's easier. I use them only online. I don't
Mhm.
care too much about this kind of accounts. I don't know, for example.
Yeah, and this is correlate with what you said before. Like, it really depends on what kind of credentials you are storing, right? Because there will be the credentials that use for that, yet another site where you need to log in order to access some information, and there could be something that is very very critical for you, like for example the password for your wallet,
A wallet,
with
yeah.
I don't know, hundreds or thousand or even more worth of cryptocurrency. So that's the other case. Still, okay, password manager is already something very, um, I would say, advanced.
Mhm.
If you compare with the with the average of the people out there, and it's definitely good that you are using that. But still, uh, when something like this happened, when you know that someone got access to your credentials, even if they are encrypted, right? Okay, I personally have hundreds of credentials, and if I have from a day to the other change all of them, it's gonna be a mess. It's gonna be
Yeah,
crazy, and not only it will take forever, I'm sure I'm gonna encounter so many problems and issues in the process, right?
yeah,
But there should be, at least in your head, the credentials that you care about the most,
a
right? I don't know.
priority list.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a handful of credentials most of the time.
Yeah,
Your home banking, or I don't know, if you have your cloud storage with all of your documents, maybe that one. If you have a wallet with cryptocurrency, definitely that one. Uh, you know, 5, 10, maybe, I don't know, 20 credentials. Those ones, no matter what, you're gonna change them,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Not
Yeah.
all of the thousand of credentials you are storing, but those very very critical. And I think that's the problem with this. Again, we don't know for sure this is the case, but those people, after the LastPass breach, at least should have changed, the seed for their wallet. I don't know how difficult is that, or what does it you know include to do it. But still, it is worth it to take the effort to do that
Yeah. Yeah, for
if you
sure.
know that it's
It's your
out there.
money. More nowadays, it's your money, so you know the value behind cryptocurrencies, and it's no more like 2, 3 years ago, but it's money. So I would protect my wallet
I
like my
mean,
e-banking.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's a lot of money. Here you
Yeah.
can say that they are declaring 35 million worth of crypto, and those are just divided for per 150 people. So it's definitely a lot of money, no matter what. It's
What are
actually
we talking
specified
about? Come on.
somewhere. The guy running the investigation here, I will not find it, but it is specified somewhere in the article that you know um, most or all of those people involved are actually computer savvy people, security
Hmm. Hmm.
aware people,
Yeah.
and even people from the industry, employees from famous crypto companies, and so on and so forth. So definitely people that know their stuff, or at least the bare minimum to take their assets secure. So it's not that we're, I don't know, again, my grandpa, it's using their smartphone. It's definitely someone who is investing in this thing first of all, because that's a lot of money. And there should be the bare minimum of taking your crypto money secure.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently, that's my concern here about these solutions. When you start using these, let's say third-party solutions, because it's something that a company is providing to you,
Yeah.
I like my perception is that you are outsourcing,
Hmm.
even as a person, and
Yeah.
you think that it's on them. Okay, that company is taking care for my business, and I don't have to, which is something that I think is wrong, definitely wrong.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
As I said, it's actually worse. You're still giving your data to someone else, and it's on other computers, right? At the same time,
Yeah.
okay, secured servers and everything, but still, if there are, let's say, even just a copy of your data, it's twice the data that someone can find, compromise, steal, and so on and so forth.
Sure. Yes. Yes.
So very interesting. I thought it was particularly interesting because there are so many data breaches out there nowadays that I think the perception is a little, okay, yeah, another data breach. This is not really important. Tomorrow we will have another 10 of them and we will forget about this. But you see how something big as this, involving so many people, it's something that will have even long term consequences, right?
Yes.
We I don't know how many articles I've read about the LastPass breach, because we had a new article every week at the beginning, and now once a month, and we will probably know even more later, right? If this that data was really decrypted, I'm sure at some point someone will definitely just sell the decrypted data somewhere,
Yeah.
right?
I would.
Look,
I mean, I would. Come
not that
on.
you should, but
No,
yeah,
I mean, I would. It's not that I would, but it's something that they do. They usually do.
yeah, definitely.
They expose, so they sell, expose. They try. Come on. They are doing this for business.
Yeah, they're just finding all the way possible to monetize
Yeah.
from a database, right? First,
Yeah.
just asking money from the company, then trying to reuse those credentials and steal money from the users, and then maybe try to resell once again those credentials so they can make even some more money out of it.
Yeah,
We,
it's like
it's
a
like
job.
yeah,
They're investing money to target these attacks, so they
yeah,
need
totally.
to get something back.
Yeah. So very very interesting, but I think it's time to move to the next one.
Sure. Yes.
So if you are still with us, thank you very much. First of all, if you are enjoying this, please consider leaving a comment, share this with some friends that could be interested, and consider hitting that subscribe or follow button depending on which platform you are watching this. Cool. So I actually need to do a little change
Switch.
to share the next. Okay. So great. Second news. This was a little tricky for me just because of my personal knowledge. I'm ignorant, of course, but I do this even to understand and know a little more, which is the best thing here. So I'll try to introduce this. So we are talking about the ICC, or International Criminal Court. That, if you don't know about this, it's basically an international organization that is based in the Netherlands, if I'm not wrong,
Yeah.
specified somewhere, um, which basically is responsible to prosecute individuals, so people all around the world for uh, you know uh, crimes of war, or anything that is against the human rights, and so on and so forth. So it's actually a pretty important organization, and especially with the recent Russia and Ukraine conflict, it's something that it's pretty relevant right now. Because any crimes that it is believed that someone involved in the conflict is doing right now, it's actually prosecuted by this organization. Now, this organization right here actually did a statement recently, which is pretty interesting for us in our field. So this is I actually wanted to read it aloud, but I cannot find it. Anyway, the point is that they specified publicly that basically, even in the cyberspace, okay, so any action taken by anyone involving the digital world, let's say, could constitute still any of the things that are interesting for them. So again, crimes on war and so on and so forth, which is pretty big, right? Um, which is very interesting, because it means that, once again, because this is not the first time we see something like this, um, we are putting even more attention to what happens, especially during cyber attacks, right? So it means that any attempt to breach someone, spy on someone, or any people or companies, especially with what we see from different countries conflict, it's something that can be prosecuted, can be um, defined as definitely globally unlawful, let's say, and could have very big consequences for those people. Another thing that I want to specify, again, it's written somewhere here, but it's that just because of um, you know how this works, the same claims are not going to be taken just with the person that is running the attack itself. So if someone does something, it's not just the person in front of the keyboard, but also, all of the chain of command. Um, if we are talking about, a state sponsored group or
Mhm.
something, can be included in the prosecution, right? So the person who just instructed the attacker to do so, and someone was even suggesting, okay, if we apply this to Russia right now, it could go up to potentially, the president, or Putin in this case. Um, so very political thing, I would say, very not so technical, I mean.
Yeah.
But still, I think this is actually the stuff that it's very important to ever read, because it it let us know how important this field is becoming, and is going to be in the future.
Yeah,
uh,
definitely.
so
And
yeah.
maybe it will set new standards
Mm.
for cybersecurity. I mean, if they need to find information, and in the future, let's say they can connect the dots and find that one of the attacker used one of my machines in my company, and I need to give them data, and I need to prepare the data in a structured way that will be defined. It would be, it can be a game changer. So not maybe not a real game changer, but can be a new standard to follow, and something to implement in every company that can be useful, and maybe finally something that we will all adopt, sorry, to start working on. And yeah, can create new technologies, new possibilities, new opportunities. Who knows?
Absolutely. Like what I was thinking when, while I was reading this, is that, we we read so many times about, uh, attacks attributed to that state, or the other states, from, to China, Russia, or Korea, or whatever, right? And, from an ignorant perspective, it seems so often that, come on, this is countries attacking each other, and no one does nothing, right? So we are talking about attacks. The point is that just some time ago, these were considered just some different kind of attack that, were not really considered serious on
Mhm.
my point of view, right? Why? So if a country, I don't know, I'm gonna exaggerate here, but send a missile to
Yeah,
another
yeah, yeah.
country, it's a real attack, and it's a big deal, and someone has to do something about it, and we are going to, I don't know, stop sending goods and money to that country, because it's starting something very, very bad on a global level. Why that happens? And very clearly, statement says, okay, I don't know, country X attacks, we use the word attacks, country epsilon, and still, just because it's a cyber attack, nothing happens. I don't know how
Yeah.
many reports are there that you can read about attacks attributed to this or the other country, and still seems that it's not a big deal. We
Mm,
know about that. Okay, in the cyber world, it's difficult to really, find out those stuff with you know, uh, um, 100% accuracy. So we
yeah.
can try to say, okay, this is probably coming from, or this is probably, planned or perpetrated by this or the other actor. But still, there are very hard sentences,
Mm,
very big words being used, and most of the time, no consequence at all. Just, just some, I would say, political chat, and some, stuff that I don't see any impact, any, uh, I would say, short term impact, right?
Hmm.
Nothing happens in the moment that we discovered that attack happened.
Yeah.
But this and stuff like this can change it, right? If
Hmm.
any, if the international court is going to prosecute a country because it attacked another one, it's going to be a big deal. It can have direct consequences, which should technically make those state-sponsored actors to think twice or more
Three
times.
times.
Yeah, to do something, or just probably even to find more stealthy ways to run their attacks, or
Yeah.
just disguise a little more than before. I'm not sure, like I'm curious, but I see the evolution there, about the perception of the digital world, about the cyber attacks. And I personally like it. Yeah, I see
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
going into the right direction in my point of view.
Definitely. I would say finally. I mean, it's something that, as you said, it's difficult in the cyberspace to find uh, the person behind, or the group behind, or the nation behind. I don't know. We can expand it however we want. Um, but at least they are trying,
Yeah.
and they will create something to prosecute these cyber groups. And I think that, as usual, with cyber criminals, with criminals, not only with cyber criminals, every little piece will make the difference, at least at the beginning. Who knows that? But the smallest company in the planet will suffer of a cyber attack, and then we discover that this kind of information could be useful to discover that it was just part of a bigger plan, or I don't know. Yeah, I'm curious, like you, to know how it will evolve. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. I was trying to read something here, and I um, if I want to do the devil's advocate, right? And let's say, oh no, this is too much. Why should we do something like this? It's not a that big deal, right? Let's just remember that um, cyber attacks can have big consequences, right? Is not what we usually read about. It's not just stealing credentials or data that, okay, because I'm in the field, I know that's a big deal already. But maybe the perception from the average people out there is not the same, and it's okay that it's like that. But you know um, attacks can affect actual infrastructure, right?
Mm.
I, as a country, can decide to attack digitally. So with the cyber attack, like I don't know, the train infrastructure, or the communication infrastructure, and I don't know, the
Hospitals.
power, yeah, hospitals, or power, delivery for an entire country, and cause real and physical problems as
Yeah.
well, right?
But think
Or
about COVID period.
yeah,
If during pandemic they were attacking hospitals, maybe a lot of lives would have not been saved.
yeah, that's
So
true. So basically nowadays, in any field and in any aspect of our lives, we are using computers to do something. So the perfect example is hospitals are using um, you know um, digital systems to store information about their patients, or even running, I don't know, surgery with robots and machine. What if in the middle of a surgery that takes, I don't know, 24 hours or something, the robot doesn't work anymore, or you can
or
even,
worse, you
yeah,
can
control it
command the
remotely,
robot.
or I mean, it can be a very big deal, right? You can do very best stuff, and even very physical stuff. And we saw actually that with again with the current war um, that is happening between Russia and Ukraine. So yeah, that's the answer, if you're asking this kind of question there. Um, so what else? I mean, again, very interesting article, and I always provide all of the links in the description of the YouTube channel. So if you want to have a read of this, I really suggest you to do so, and let us know what do you think about it.
Yeah.
Um, so I guess we can move to the next one. What you think, Fabio?
Yes. While you change the screen, I will
Mm-hmm.
remember the
Yeah.
followers to look around on the other platforms because you're making very good reels and TikToks and and stuff around. So just discover all of them. And if you want, as George already said, just comment below or give us feedbacks because it's precious for us to know what you think. You know, we do it for fun and to learn every time something new. If we can create a bit of connection with you guys, why not? Just take the occasion and jump in with us. Simple comment, like, or whatever you want.
I'm actually gonna add something on that. Every episode I'm trying to invite someone new. I really enjoy when someone returns like Fabio, but as many people we can involve in this project, that I think the better it is, right? So if you want to join an episode, just reach out. You have my every contacts in the description, or just drop a message anywhere, and yeah, we will discuss it. Why not? So anyone, I really think anyone with any background, any kind of knowledge, it could be and have some idea to join this, because I definitely learn more from someone who has a different perspective, a different background, a different skill set. It's not about I know enough or I don't know enough. I'm personally doing this because I don't know enough, right?
Yeah.
And I probably will ever be in this
Yeah,
situation.
this podcast force us to find articles, read the articles, maybe not in deep, but if you're so we read news every day, but if you want to speak about something, you need to be curious and go and look at the news and understand what the news is saying and think about the news, not just reading them and close the article because yeah, yet another data breach
Mhm.
every
Yeah,
day. You think about what's behind, and that's what we do here, and I like it a lot.
absolutely. Thank you very much, Fabio. So third news of the day. I thought this was interesting, like the context on where this is happening. So we are talking about research and a report from the Cisco Talos, unit. It's actually very interesting. You have some details in the article, and you can read directly the report, which is for some of you even better, maybe. What I want to focus on with Fabio is what the attackers are targeting and why, right? So basically, we are talking about crypto miner, right? Or at least a campaign which is focusing on crypto mining. Crypto mining, if you don't know what it is, basically the operation where you leverage the hardware resources of the target machine, okay, to actually mine cryptocurrencies. So I'm sorry for all the crypto guys out there, but basically, just to make everyone understand, to generate cryptocurrency pretty much out of nowhere, and so basically making money out of nowhere. uh, the attackers are actually doing that, compromising as many devices as possible, and then using the CPUs and GPUs from those computers to continuously generate those money and send those money, of course, to the attackers. Now, this is not something new. We have seen this, from many years now, especially from when cryptocurrencies became pretty popular recently. But specifically, the way attackers this time tried to infect the target machines is putting some again advertisement, some um, some websites saying providing installers for popular video editing or image editing softwares, something like I'm going to read here: Adobe Illustrator, Autodesk, SketchUp, and so on and so forth. So very very much focusing on a very little niche, so those people who are going to use those kind of softwares. So the article specify graphic designers, but I'm gonna say probably video editors and so on and so forth. So a very very specific niche, a very little niche, I will say. And the point is that this software that they're going to install, it's actually going to include the malware itself, and eventually it's going to drop the cryptocurrency miners that will do the dirt job, let's say. The point is, so why so specific? Why should we focus on those specific softwares? Why to focus on those specific targets? The reason why is that those kind of softwares are most of the time relying on very powerful GPUs, so graphical processing units, to run this job. I would say this is the case, and probably just gamers are using the same hardware, uh, so commonly, um, and those are just perfect to mine cryptocurrency, basically, right? So apparently, GPUs are going to be even more efficient, even more effective in mining cryptocurrency, and that's the reason why, right? Those are the perfect device to be compromised to run that kind of job for attackers.
Yeah.
So I don't know, this kind of stuff is maybe not so important. We spoke about very very big news before, and this is a very very detail that still makes me think a lot. Makes me think about how attackers things, and how do they plan their attacks. And still, once again, we know that no one is immune, right?
Yeah.
Everyone could be affected. Everyone could be targeted. That is slightly different, right? This is not like a big phishing attack where I want to target everyone or anyone that could fall for it. It's very very targeted, but to someone that you will not think about at the first place, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you see from the map in the article, the countries which are affected, mainly affected, seems from the investigation. eh, it's very targeted. I mean, Switzerland, France, Germany, United States, Canada. Yeah, it's very particular, and maybe it happens. It's easier for the attackers to get them to install the malware on their PC, because that's social. I mean, that's kind of social engineering. They they lower their defenses, so
Hmm.
they just install the software because they need it, and they spend thousands of dollars, francs, euros, I don't know how which currency you want, to buy the best PC for their job, and they need to perform, and they are used to have bad, I don't know how to say it, but bad performance, because they're powering, they're using very much the resources. So they install the software and they don't think about something in the background that can be stealing their power.
Actually,
Uh,
you made me remember that it's specified exactly at the end of the article here that there are actually two
yes,
different miners, but they are configured so that it's not gonna use the full um,
power.
yeah, power from the computer, but just enough to be effective. And this is probably an attempt to hide the fact that something is happening on the background, because this is we're taking it for granted, but this is most of the time the way how you find out about this kind of malware, the fact that your computer starts to slow down because the CPU is being used so much by this malware, you cannot really use anything else, right?
Yes.
This malware is taking all the power on all the resources you have on your computer, and especially if you are using it for work, if you are again a designer or a video editor or something, and you work with it, you will notice if your computer slow down and you cannot do your work anymore,
Yeah.
right? Even if you just decide to, I don't know, okay, the computer is now too old, I need a new one because it's too slow. The fact that you drop the computer, right, and you start using another one is a bad thing for the attackers, because attackers want you to to keep running the computer and to keep mining cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
So it's
Because
yeah,
sorry. Go on.
it's just their they don't want you to notice it, and they want you to keep using it, right?
Yeah.
um this is interesting, I would say.
And another important thing is that most of the time, these kind of PCs are just workstation, not notebooks.
Mhm.
So maybe in the idle time, they're kept on in the office, so they can be used to mine continuously, and it's just the right target. Some years ago, I was using Boeing for to give my resources to the science research,
Okay,
so
yeah,
researchers.
like
So when my
peer-to-peer ways to provide resources, right, or
yeah,
something.
yeah, and you could affiliate to, so say my idle
Mhm.
resources can be used to work on, to calculate on some data, and the Boeing software was getting the data and calculating while your computer was not used, or while your utilization was below a certain amount. So I was purposely doing it. They are not doing purposely, but I was using a lot my PC. I was not having a laptop, so I was having a laptop for work and my workstation at home, and I was keeping the workstation on almost the time. So
Yeah.
it was something useful, but thinking about why they should target these kind of computers, that's also maybe another reason, because mm, during overnight the PC is not used, but the GPU is still there, it's on, and they can mine the cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, I got to think also about another thing, like now I don't know all of those softwares that are listed here, but definitely some of them will be paid software, right? Something that you have to pay a subscription to use them, and probably it's not specified here, right? But probably attackers are providing this software or some version of those softwares, maybe cracked ones,
Yeah.
for free, so that those people are even more interested in downloading them, right? uh,
Hmm.
it's probably one of the case here.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure about it. So if I have to do this for work, and I can get the software for free instead of paying, I don't know how much, every month or every year, This is definitely a reason why I just decide to download a random, I mean, what seems to be a legit software, but from a random website, right?
Yeah.
And this is what happens. Uh, you know, this is something that I was thinking about some time ago. Like probably everyone at some point tried to download some free software or just free versions of paid software,
Mm.
and always not really thinking what's behind it, right?
Why it's free?
Why is free, right? It's not like that. Someone is so uh, you know uh, um,
Generous.
yeah, generous altruist, I don't know how to say it, that wants you to make some effort to crack the software and give you the free version. Most of the time there will be something behind it, right? They are taking that effort, cracking the software, providing it for free, but with a little surprise in it that will, in the best, I would say that this is not the worst scenario. They're just using your computer to make some money, but you at least, right, your computer will be less powerful than usual, and you are paying for the energy that
The
is required
power,
to
yes.
right to keep your computer up and running for them, right? And again, this is the less it's not that worse. If you compare to the same rat that is used here to deploy the crypto miners could be used even to collect data, or eventually maybe ask you money in order to not exfiltrate the data. So bad things can happen, right?
Yeah.
And this should be I think this should be definitely something that everyone should be aware of, right? So
Mhm.
this is one of the reasons why you should not search for
Free
free for
version of paid software.
right.
Yeah,
And
cracks and
again, everyone can fall for it. Even designers were looking for what is it, Photoshop or something like that.
yeah, 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 for sure.
If you want free software, go for open source software,
Open
and then
source and free software, open source and free, because there
yeah,
are paid version
right.
of open source, but yes, open source and free. But open source is most
Yeah,
of
I
the
mean,
time
uh,
it's
it's
spare
actually
spare
I don't
time
want to
project.
say open source is safe, because I
No,
think that's a false statement, right?
false
But
prejudice. Yes,
it's better than looking for a cracked version of paid software.
yes,
That's
definitely,
for sure, like 100%.
definitely. Yes, yes, yes. This is
Okay,
for
okay,
sure.
that's great. It was pretty simple, but very interesting, and I like this kind of news. Now a big one is actually the next news.
Yes.
Uh, but once again, just before I move to the next one, I'm gonna ask you if you are liking this, if you are enjoying this. Please consider, hit the subscribe button, share it with some friends, leave a comment to let us know what you think about it, or just maybe let us know if you are saying something wrong, because that can also happen. And I would like to know when I'm saying or doing something wrong, so I can improve myself. Um, Great. So next, and unfortunately last one for today. I know you want to stay here for another 10 hours, Fabio, but unfortunately I have to drop at some point. Um,
Don't worry.
so the last news again. This is pretty big. I always try to keep the biggest or just the most interesting news for the last one. I think once again this is the case. So uh, what what this piece of news is talking about is not really a new regulation in China, something that is out there from some time apparently, but let's say a report on that new regulation, right? Basically, the what the government Chinese government is asking their companies. Oh, actually, we lost Fabio. Hopefully, we'll be back in some time. So what they are asking their own company, or the all of the companies that are in the Chinese country, is to basically provide information about any new vulnerability that are discovered in their software. Okay, so this is how it works. If my company has any office in China, and I produce any kind of software, at the time that I found about any bug or big vulnerability, or especially security vulnerabilities in my softwares, and I know about it, I need to share information about that vulnerability with the government. So actually, with specific agencies under the government, and I want to specify here that this is not something so uncommon, right? Actually, many countries out there have their CERT, so like an organization that let's say which goal is to help public administration and companies from that country to defend themselves, respond to incidents, and so on and so forth. And they actually also benefit from companies sharing about their vulnerabilities. The very concerning thing here is that the basically the investigation that was happening here uh, found out that some of those agencies to which the companies have to share their information about their vulnerabilities are actually also involved in those cross states cyber attacks we were talking about before, right? So previous investigation about cyber attacks that were attributed to China apparently were started by those very organizations that are asking any company in the state to provide them information about the vulnerability. Now, if it's not clear why this is big and why this is concerning, the reason is that let's do some examples here. Okay, so okay, I'm a big vendor, right? I have an office in China. I find out about some vulnerabilities that could be harmful, could be concerning for my own users, right? And I have to patch that. But even before I found a way to patch that, I need to provide that information to the state, and that means that my own software that maybe is also used on other countries, maybe those countries which are not really in a good, let's say, relationship with China, they will be in the hands of those very people who run, espionage or just, disruptive attacks from a country to the other. So the point is that I'm actually potentially, um, let's say, provide harmful information for my own users in other countries, or for my own company in other countries. Even worse, and just this last bit on this is that apparently someone got to see the dashboard that the companies have to use to provide those information, and there are fields that are actually asking about basically proof of concept. So fields that are asking, okay, like what are the steps that are required in order to exploit this vulnerability?
Reproduce. Yeah.
Yeah, or even they are asking to provide like a video demonstration on how to to show the bug or to exploit the bug. Now, this is a little too much, and I don't think any other organization is today asking for something like that. Like there is no other reason to ask about such information unless you want to exploit the vulnerability,
No,
right?
it's just because they want to help defend.
All right.
They want to patch instead of, I don't know, I'm just big names. Microsoft, F5, they want to help them to solve the issue. Please send me the video on how to exploit it. I can try to fix it for you. I don't have your source code, but I will try to fix it. Or maybe they also have the full source code. I don't know. You
I,
know,
I,
it's China. I don't know.
I hope that's not the case. The real problem here is that, again, this same regulation is applied to all of the companies, no matter if they are Chinese or not.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, in fact, the journalist who wrote this article actually reached out to some of those companies that are foreign companies in China, asking them whether they are complying with this regulation, and trying to get to know what kind of information they are sharing with the Chinese state, right? Now, of course, companies didn't really reply exactly with the details, or someone just says something, "Oh no, we don't share anything." But this is something like seems a very serious, regulation in there, and apparently you decide to comply or you need to leave the country with your offices. So it's a very big deal. Um, another aspect that I thought it's really interesting is the fact that if we think about multinational companies, right, or a Microsoft or something like that, um, it could even be that outside the country they don't really know there's such regulation, and that office is sharing such information, because it's not just something that you control on a global basis. Every country pretty much most of the time handles their own compliance regulation and everything, and this could sound something that maybe in China is pretty common and pretty normal. Outside China, I think it's pretty concerning, right? So it could be that, again, a very big company is sharing information without the higher levels even knowing anything about it, uh, which is makes me think a lot about it. No.
yeah, yeah, sure. And we are talking about vulnerabilities that nowadays are almost everywhere because in a previous episode you spoke about Tesla, and inside Tesla there is software that can contain cat that can contain bugs. Sorry, I'm getting tired. But think about all the appliances used to monitor, control, or access uh, plants. I mean, electric grids and any pumping station
Yeah, all the
or
critical infrastructures, right?
yeah. So this is quite huge, and when we go back to what we discussed before, you can control traffic lights for an entire city if you find a vulnerability there, and you can create chaos and maybe put the spotlight on something to create something big and hiding behind to do something smaller but more effective to the bad stuff. So yeah, it's stuff.
I mean, I just maybe I forgot to contextualize this a bit, right? Um, just to give some idea about it. Like, of course, a cyber attack does not always involve exploitation of a vulnerability, and especially not of a zero-day vulnerability, even if it's very, very common, right? But the point is that so if we are talking about zero-day vulnerability, and basically what it means is that you know exploiting a vulnerability that no one is aware of, or especially that the public or the vendor itself doesn't know about, so that is not really patched yet, right? Or no one is taking any measures to prevent its exploitation. We are talking about 0 days, and it's actually very difficult to get a vulnerability like that, because when you have a vulnerability like that for for a software, it means that for a limited amount of time, you have basically a backdoor, right? An access that no one is aware of, and no one can potentially do anything about it. Until someone discover about it, and um, you know, the field and the researchers will provide some security measures about it. So it's a very, very powerful weapon. Probably, if you think about the cyber world, it's probably one of the most harmful weapons out there. And
Yeah.
there's even, let's say, a market for those vulnerabilities that can actually cost millions. To give you an idea on how important it can be, and the fact that an entire state is again, potentially find a mechanism to um, uh, get on a scale, tens of those zero-day vulnerabilities, forcing their own companies to do so. This is very big. It says a lot about what is the potential, power of Chinese state countries, state sponsored groups, right? It
Yeah.
could potentially mean that they have access to more 0 days than other countries that are not doing the same. And it says a lot on those same countries, those same companies that are potentially aware of it. If you have a good security team or security management, you know about it, right? And the fact that you are aware of it and you are still doing it means that you have a, let's say, a different kind of care about your software, your users, your data, and so on and so forth,
Mm-mm-mm.
right?
True.
um, so this is how big is it, how big it is. It's very big, if you ask me.
Hmm.
It's
I
like
totally agree.
weapon market, like an in-country weapon market, where you force your own companies to provide those weapons to you, so you can potentially use it. Again, it's let's say it's the journalists that wrote this article are suggesting it can be used for that. Of course, the regulation doesn't say, okay, you have to provide me 0 days so I can attack other countries, but it's a possibility, right?
Yeah, not
um,
only other countries. I mean, they are hacking teams, so they're not only interested in countries or attacking other countries. They may be interested in targeting specific companies or specific technologies to avoid them to
users.
spread. Yeah, users. Yes, because maybe an activist is doing too much noise for them and they want to silence it a bit, and they can do it virtually. Why not? If an influencer nowadays is using their social media to spread something about, I don't know, one of the many movements there is, and the state says we don't want you to speak about it, they can just use one vulnerability to get access to his mobile phone or their social media, who knows. Or maybe their banking accounts, because if that 0 day is using the is leveraged on a browser, then you find many information on it. So yeah, it's like that at 0 day is like a silver bullet.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can define it like that because, and I was asking also to add something. If uh, if the vulnerability is discovered by someone external to the company
Hmm.
and there is a non-disclosure agreement with this person, would this fall under this law?
I mean, well, that's interesting. I'm not sure, how much responsible disclosure is used in China. Like, just because, again, I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know how many, freelance researchers are doing that for Chinese companies. um, but still it's the company itself that needs to comply with that. So the moment that the company
Knows
gets to know
about it.
about the vulnerability, okay, technically has to share it with the you know, and
With the government.
yeah, that's actually something interesting, right? Let's say that that happens, that there is a, you know, a movement for third party assessments and responsible disclosure in China, right? Like, do you think it's still, that's still responsible? Like, I mean, we're talking responsible disclosure. Basically, you know, you find about the vulnerability, you as a, you know, an independent researcher, and you decide to basically tell the company itself, oh, you know, I found this vulnerability. I think you should patch it as soon as possible. I will not, you know, share this with anyone else until you actually patch it. But you know, if you're in China, if you're
I
doing
need
that with
to
a
say,
Chinese company, you know that the moment that you will share this, the company itself will share it with the government, and you don't exactly know what will happen next.
well, you can contact an overseas agency of this
Office, you know,
company.
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
And
Well,
just say that it's a little more difficult in that scenario, right? If you
yeah,
want
yeah.
really to be responsible.
Responsible disclosure. Well, you are telling to the biggest uh, thing on your country. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
like,
the place that needs to protect you and help you, and you know.
I mean, that's actually an argument, right? Like, I'm biased. I'm making jokes about it because I have my, you know, my opinion on China, because I'm not Chinese. I'm not in that country. But probably if you're in China and if you agree with your, you know, government and everything, maybe you think this is actually a good thing, right?
Yes.
Everything it's you know, relative, and it really depends on what are your thoughts, what are your opinions on it. I mean, as I said before, even other countries are requesting information about vulnerabilities, but you know, at this point we don't really know about it. But usually they should not use those information for attacks to other countries and companies, so on and so forth. In the
Mm.
meanwhile, hi Draghetto, thank you very much to join us. Um, so yeah, again, very controversial, very interesting. Another very good article, and again, I suggest you once again to have a look at that. So, is there anything else you would like to mention about this?
No, that's just tough. I mean, man, if my country would ask for this, I don't know. It's against my beliefs. So I know they will maybe use it for good, but that they potentially can use it for very bad stuff. So no.
I mean, it really depends on when do you share the information, right? Because if you do it when you already patched it, it's a very good thing. Actually, you should, you know, spread the word as much as possible, so
Yeah,
that you know, all the people out there can patch their systems, or they can know about the vulnerability, find a way to uh, you know, defend it even if you cannot patch it, and so on and so forth. So sharing is caring, generally speaking,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
The point is that when you share so much details before you can do anything about it, right? When you have to provide proofs of concepts for the exploitation before you can patch it, that's the concern thing for me. I mean, another thing is that we don't really know if companies are actually doing it. Some of those fields are not mandatory, so technically you can send the form without providing all the exploitation details. The problem here is still, you know, why that field is there, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
why you're actually asking for it?
Yeah.
And you as a government agency asking for it, it's the very concerning thing here. I mean, again, this case it's China. We got to know about it, but any country doing the same, I will feel, in the same state here, right?
Hmm.
Any country, as you said, even my country, if it asks for it, I would have some ethical, concerns in doing so, right? I will at least ask why should I do so if, let's say, I'm in charge for doing it. Let's say I'm the CISO or I'm the compliance manager for it, and I personally have to share the data, right? It's something that it affects my own company and users, and something that my government does can, as a consequence, affect my own company, right?
Hmm.
Like
Yes.
the worst scenario will be something like, okay, I shared this information, then something happens in the background that I don't know about, and then I'm actually, someone gives me how do you say it, like a fee or something because I got a
Yeah.
breach. Um, that will be definitely the worst scenario possible, but it's possible, right?
Yeah.
If you care about
It exists.
the potential exploitation.
Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, it's, I don't know. It's an ethical thing, and it's too tough.
Yeah, I mean,
Unfortunately, we are not in that situation.
not yet, at least, right?
No, exactly, not yet.
Yeah, no, but I mean, again, it's once again, it's not a technical thing, but it's something that it's useful to think about. It's useful to get to know, because this is part of our world, right?
Hmm.
I mean, if you are not doing just this for work, maybe this is not really something that concerns you, or you are interested in it. But I think that if you are really passionate about this world, knowing about the, how big are the implications, how big is the cyber field affecting anything, even politics, even relationship within different countries, and so on and so forth, lets you, contextualize what you are doing, in what position you are in, in the world. I think this is very important and very interesting, at least for me.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Cool. Fabio, like, I'm not going to say that I'm tired. I'm never tired, right? Never happens.
Yeah.
But we actually finished all the articles.
Yes.
They were all, as usual, very interesting, and will probably need more time to dedicate. But
Hmm.
this is the format, right? Having just let's say a quick chat, and so that anyone can get their own ideas about what happened, and then we actually have questions like this one at the very end. They get to ask us, what do you think about a passwordless world? I mean, we spoke about the LastPass
That's
breach,
fast.
and this is actually very in topic with that. And again, just because stuff happens, you then have to find about new solutions or new approaches. And like, I'm not sure today is not that word anymore, like, yet. Someone is discussing about it, and many solutions out there are also already providing something like, okay, you don't set up a password, you put your email address, we will send you an email with a one-time code, and you will access with that. Some solutions are already using it nowadays, but the in my opinion, the problem is to to change what's out there right now, right?
Hmm.
Like, for all of the solutions, for all of the softwares, for all of the company out there to move to a passwordless approach, it's a very big deal, and I don't know how many years we will need to do that if we do that.
Yeah.
Because again,
A-
uh,
and we if we add the news, the last article we read,
mhm.
how the passwordless world will be implemented. I mean, ah, if every state will ask to publish to send them the 0-day vulnerabilities, and the passwordless authentication is based on something that could be vulnerable, are you exposing also all the accounts around the world?
Yeah, I mean, it's always the same. You implement a new security measure, and they will find a new way to
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 exploit.
breach it. It doesn't mean that we should not change or find new technology or find new approaches, but still, I don't think there's any 100% solution to everything. Okay, now we
Yeah.
start with password. Now we don't have any problems. It could be maybe interesting to avoid those data breaches where thousands of credentials are exposed in one time, right? But maybe there's something new that's even worse, and that I cannot think about right now, just because I don't know what could be the consequences if we change that approach. So I don't really know.
Well, if the
um,
technology is if one technology will be used for thousands of services, and if there is one vulnerability in this technology, then you have thousands of services affected. The password thing is getting better because of password managers, and people starting to really take care about their password, most of people. um, so this is getting a bit better, and multi-factor authentication helps. Yes, admin 123 is one of the password. No, I would say that 123 from 1 to 6 is still one of the most used passwords in the planet. I would say.
and I
But
mean, I think the fault there is the software that is accepting the kind of password. Come on, just
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah, absolutely,
numbers.
absolutely. But you will just move the focus. So instead of targeting the people to a- and to use the brute force attempts, or to target the vaults containing their password, they will start targeting, I don't know, your security keys or your device to get the access. So
And I
I don't
mean,
know.
if it's just a little more difficult than just targeting passwords, I think it's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Even if it's not a solution to everything. But I don't really have an opinion yet on that. I'm not really sure if it's, in any case, it's always better. I think there will be always some scenarios where it's gonna be just too difficult to implement, or the implementation will not be really secure. So yeah, I think I need to explore that a little bit more.
Mm-mm.
um, so cool, thank you very much, Fabio, first of all, as always, very um, you know um, I very much enjoyed it, as usual, and it's always nice and fun to have a chat with you, and also to the people that were with us tonight. But I think we reached an end for today. Just the last time, if you lost this, you can still rewatch it on YouTube when I will re-upload it, or just listen it to in sorry, on Spotify or all the
Other
podcast
platforms,
platforms.
yes.
Yeah. And yeah, once again, thank you very much. See you on the next episode, hopefully with Fabio at some point again. And yeah, I hope that you enjoyed it as much as I did.
I definitely I needed it after these full days. It's exactly what I needed. So thanks, Georgia.
Great. So thank you very much. Have a nice day, morning, night, or whatever. And see you on the next episode. Bye bye.
Bye.